Shall we have everyone introduce themselves? Tell your name and where you are. Let's start with Abdul Shukar. I remember you're in Afghanistan, right?
Yeah, I am from Afghanistan.
Thank you for joining us.
Yes.
Good to see you.
Thank you.
And next is Claudia.
Hello, good morning. My name is Claudia, and I'm from Mexico City, and I am very happy to join you today. Nice to meet you, everyone.
Ishi.
Yes. Hi. Good morning, everyone. I'm Ishi. I'm from Japan, and I'm very happy to join this. Thank you.
Thank you for joining us. It's good to see you again. We also have, thank you, Lena. I believe she's not on video, but hello?
Hello.
Hi, Lena. Where are you calling from?
I'm from Colombia.
Awesome. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you to you too.
It is early there, I think.
It's around 8 o'clock.
Okay, not so bad. Thank you for joining us. And next we have Mustafa.
Yes, hello everyone.
Hello.
Hello, how are you? I am Mustafa from Egypt, and it's a pleasure to join you. And it's the first time to join in this application. I'm very happy to be with you.
It's my turn?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. My name is Nobu. I'm really happy to join this.
Thank you. And lastly, we have San.
Hello.
Hello.
Could you hear me?
Yes.
Yep.
Okay. I'm my check.
Mic check. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm good. Hi, I'm San. I'm calling from Vietnam, and good to see you. See you on.
Next, we would like to introduce or reintroduce John Russell, who's our special guest today. Hello, John.
Hi, John.
Hello, everyone. How are you doing?
What have you got for us today?
Well, I have some fun topics for us to talk about today. But first, I'd just like to say what truly a pleasure it is for me to get the chance to speak to all of you. I hope we have a great conversation. I know these are difficult, unusual times in the world, and it's very good and heartening that we're able to have forums such as these to explore our love of languages. So I'd like to thank all of you for joining. So to start things off, I thought today we could talk about a couple of the everyday grammar articles that I have written recently. And both of these articles look at kind of one important connection in the English language, and that is the connection between grammar and speaking. Okay, so in English, in general, we communicate meaning through grammar, but sometimes meaning can change depending on the way a person says a word. Okay, so today we're going to look at two everyday grammar articles. The first one explores how Americans pronounce phrasal verbs, and then how they pronounce the noun form of phrasal verbs. For the purposes of the discussion, we can call them phrasal nouns. And then later, we'll look at compound nouns and how the pronunciation differs from adjective plus noun combinations. So I just threw out a lot of terms. If you did not understand all of them, do not worry, because we will go through all of these steps. So to start off with, I'd like for us to think about one word, or rather, well, two words, but one idea, and that is word stress. Does anyone know what word stress is?
Excuse me. I want to answer these questions.
Go ahead, San.
English in English, word stress word stress means that you pronounce the sound more strong, and you pronounce it a little bit longer. You make it kind of stronger than other sounds in a word.
Right, that is absolutely correct. So a word is said more forcefully, stronger. In some cases, it could have a higher pitch, okay? So that's the basic idea, is that you emphasize a word, or in some cases, a part of a word. Okay. So both of these everyday grammar articles that I'm going to talk about look at this idea of word stress. So saying certain words or parts of words stronger or more forcefully. And so English pronunciation does have its difficult points, but the good news is that in some cases, these ideas about word stress are fairly regular and consistent in speaking. Okay, so the first one I'd like to explore is phrasal verbs. Does one of our guests want to explain to the others what is a phrasal verb?
You can just raise your hand or just take a guess how to explain phrasal verb.
Phrasal verb is a verb with a article or preposition. Is a composed verb. I don't know how to explain. That refers to two parts, a verb and an article, and the combination creates a new word that is different from each one. The meaning is different.
Correct. So Lena is absolutely correct. That's an excellent definition. So I can write down here. So a phrasal verb is generally, we say, so it's a verb plus there's another word after this. You might call it a particle. You might call it a preposition, but it's generally a short word such as in, on, at, back. And phrasal verbs can have a couple of these short words. But for the purposes of today's program, we'll just think of a phrasal verb as two words, okay? So the verb plus another short word. And Lena is correct to say that when you put these together, the meaning is something different than what you might expect. So we say phrasal verbs have an idiomatic meaning. Can any of you think of examples of phrasal verbs that you have heard or read recently?
I don't know if it is correct. Last year, I went to China. I hope to come back there one day.
Go back.
Yes, Claudia. So come back. Okay, so in this case, so we have the verb come. We have the verb come and then back. Okay? And so the example I give in the one of the everyday grammar articles is from The Great Gatsby. It's written by the famous American author F. Scott Fitzgerald. And there are several movie versions of this. And in some of the movie versions, they take lines that F. Scott Fitzgerald wrote exactly in the book. And the one example I use in the article is the bright, precious things fade so fast and they don't come back. Okay, so that's the example, okay? But there are many, many phrasal verbs in English. This is just one of them. That's what I'd like to talk about. Now we bring in the speaking part that I mentioned. So we've talked about the grammar part. So how do people say these? And what you'll notice is that when English speakers use phrasal verbs, they put the word stress on the second word, the short word. Okay, so the example I said was the bright precious things fade away so fast and they don't come back. So you notice that the emphasis come back is on the second word. So the emphasis or the stress goes on the second word in a phrasal verb. So could we hear some examples where you think of your example phrasal verbs and then you focus on emphasizing the second word in a phrasal verb? Could I hear from our guests? Would they like to try?
My example is recently I have gained, I have put on some weight.
Yes, that is an excellent example, and you very clearly emphasized the on. So lately, I have put on weight. Right, that is an excellent example. Would someone else like to? I
have one.
Okay.
Elaine, go ahead, Elaine.
Okay. We should go out for a walk every day.
Yes.
Wow.
Excellent. We should go out for a walk every day. Did you notice how she used the emphasis on out?
Okay.
Excellent.
I will show another example. I must get up early every morning. Get up.
Good. That's very clear the way you did it. Yeah, so I must get up. Yes, I must get up early every morning. Very good. Very good. So I think you all are pretty confident with this. You are all giving excellent examples. Okay, so we can now move to the next part, okay? So in some cases, phrasal verbs have a noun form. We'll call this just a phrasal noun, okay? And so, for example, in the Everyday Grammar article that I wrote, where the phrasal verb is come back, okay, what would a phrasal noun version sound like, okay? And just to let you know, so come back as a phrasal verb, when we use it as a noun, it becomes come back. So phrasal verb is come back. Phrasal noun is come back. So what you'll notice here, so for the phrasal noun, we have, for example, the sound of my voice is going like this. It's going down. Come back. Okay? So in other words, in a phrasal noun, we are emphasizing or putting stress on the first part of the word. Is that it's a little odd, but that's the way that we do it, okay? So for example, I can say it again. So as a phrasal verb, they don't come back. And as a phrasal noun, we might say something along the lines of make a comeback. You hear how my voice goes?
And what is the meaning of comeback as a phrasal noun?
I'd like to give an example.
Yes, let's hear that.
They called the former President Bill Clinton the comeback kid because he recovered from many setbacks. Another one, setback. He had problems, but he overcame the problems. So they called him the comeback kid.
Yes, that's an excellent example. Yeah.
And it's using it as an adjective. Yeah, so comeback, or John, if you want to explain instead of me, that's fine. But it's often used in sports as well. So an athlete, a famous athlete who takes time off, which is also a phrasal verb, and decides to return to competition to be the best again after a long time of not taking part. people might say he is going to make a comeback.
Yes, and so in this case, it can mean, it basically means to return to a former condition. That's basically the idea of it.
Yeah. One example of that was Tiger Woods. Tiger Woods had to go away from the sport for a short time, and when he returned, they said he made a comeback.
So you might hear it in sports, occasionally in politics, but it's a fairly common one. Can anyone else think of other kinds of these so-called phrasal nouns? These are a little bit tricky, but can anyone think of some examples?
Ishi, how about you?
Yes, how about makeup? I do a makeup every morning.
Makeup. That's a good one.
You can say you make up your face, or you can say you put on makeup. Make up, makeup. Yes. And in all these examples so far, the phrasal noun becomes one word. The two words are put together to form one word. Important spelling tip.
Today my modem break down, so I can't connect internet.
Yes. So we'll change it to past tense so we can say my modem broke down. My modem broke down as a phrasal verb. And can anyone think of how that one has a phrasal noun version? Can anyone think of what the phrasal noun might be? So the phrasal verb is, so my modem broke down, or my modem had a
breakdown.
Yes.
Breakdown.
Excellent. Yeah. My modem broke down this morning, or this morning my modem had a breakdown. Or your car is another example. That's an excellent example, Claudia, is breakdown. So a car will often have a breakdown.
People also can have breakdowns, by the way.
Yes. People can also have breakdowns. For example, if you're very, very stressed out, and you have too much work, and your family's mad at you, you go, that's a breakdown when your mind in normal state break down.
Did you have another example, Nobu?
Okay, I will show another example. But the phrasal noun and verb is very tricky. Okay, check-in. I asked the hotel early check-in. Or I checked in early at the hotel. The stress is difficult. Sorry.
That's, perfect. So,
yes, exactly. So we talk about hotel check-ins, and then you can check in to a hotel. Excellent. Yeah, these ones are very, very difficult.
And Mustafa had carry on. Speaking of travel.
Oh, yes. That's excellent. So Mustafa, could you use both of those in sentences?
Example, yes. I carry on. Yes, I carry on my work every day until 2:00.
Yeah, so you carry on with work. I think maybe would be a good addition to this one.
Right, but you can carry, you are correct. So we often say, I carry on a conversation or something like that. Mm-hmm.
And then the phrasal noun version has a very specific meaning, and it's only used with luggage, right? Like how many pounds of carry-on luggage does the airplane permit? Carry-on. So it's the bags you keep with you when you travel on an airplane or a train. You don't have to.
It's like a backpack.
Yes, a small carry-on backpack. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Excellent.
backpack or suitcases or a small bag.
Baggage, yes, yeah.
Those are excellent examples. Yeah.
San, do you
Thank you.
have an example?
I want to make an example with workout. I work out every day. My workout includes jogging and jog romping.
Oh, good. Yeah. So your workout your workout includes jump roping and running, or you work out every day. Yeah, excellent example. Yes. So I think we're getting a good idea of this now. And so I'd like to talk for the last bit about the second everyday grammar story I wrote that is similar to this. And that is about compound nouns and how those are pronounced. And what you'll find is that actually compound nouns, you'll notice an interesting similarity between compound nouns and what we have talked about with phrasal nouns. Okay? So for example, a compound noun is when two nouns are put together and they take on another meaning. Okay? So in the everyday grammar article, I talk about a famous American pastime, a famous American sport. Okay? So baseball. Okay? So basically, baseball is a compound noun. It joins the noun base, okay, and the noun ball to make the sport. So base, the idea of base comes from the military, where a military will have a base, like a safe place, okay? And ball is just like a ball, like a soccer ball or a basketball. And so these two words combine to make baseball, the name of a sport, and then as well the name of the ball that you use in the sport. Okay, and did you notice how I said that? Baseball. Baseball. Remember in the phrasal nouns how we did that? You stress the first word, okay? And in the compound nouns, doing the same thing, right? And now let's think of another one. So compound nouns also sometimes they might involve an adjective, but together they form a noun that is different than what the individual words suggest. So we might have people at baseball games. What do they eat? They eat hot dogs. Hot dogs. Okay? Did everyone hear that? Can anyone think of another example that might involve a compound noun and how they might pronounce that? I'll give you one example that I'm sure all of you have heard. I'll give you a hint. It involves the president of the United States. What is the name of the place that the president of the United States lives?
San, I think you know it.
I think we call it White House.
White House.
Right, exactly, yes. So a spokesperson at the White House
Is a
said, yeah, What if I said, I saw a White House? Did you hear the difference? Did you hear the difference?
The stress is placed on the house. It means the color of the house is white.
Right, exactly. So in that case, the one I just mentioned, where the pitch goes up, that one is not a compound noun. It is an adjective plus noun. So it's an adjective plus noun. So for example, this one, I say, I saw a White House. Okay, White House, okay? Whereas the name of the place where the U.S. president lives, okay, a spokesperson at the White House, it's the opposite direction, okay? So Americans at baseball games, they eat hot dogs. But do you think an American at a baseball game would want to eat a hot dog? No, no. That would be terrible because in that
Yes.
case, okay, if I said a hot dog, that would be like like a dog in the street. Like what does this mean? A hot dog. Ooh, that doesn't sound good. But a hot dog, that is something that people would eat.
Can I ask the questions? In soccer, when the referee, when the red card, when you play soccer, so is it a compound noun or adjective and a noun?
So I'm not very familiar with soccer, but I believe this one just a red card.
We will look this up further because
Yes, you'll have to forgive us, son. We're Americans and we're not very familiar with soccer.
I know American people familiar with football. I know.
So perhaps to conclude here, would anyone like to give example practice sentences from what we have talked about today? So can you think of more examples, whether that uses a phrasal noun, a phrasal verb, compound noun, or just an adjective plus a noun? Would anyone like to give any more examples?
I will show the example of the compound noun. The crossroad. Crossroad is the famous blues song's title. Crossroad.
Oh, crossroads.
Crossroads.
Yes.
That's right.
Yeah. So there's a famous songs. We'll meet at the crossroads.
Yes,
Okay.
yes.
So that's a specific like like an American term. So you might have like a highway here and here. Something like that. And so the
Yes.
crossroads would be where roads cross.
Yes.
Yeah.
Ishi, do you have an example?
There is a greenhouse near my house, and it has a greenhouse.
Oh, that's good. Yeah, so good. So there's a greenhouse near my house, and it has a greenhouse. Excellent. Yes, excellent job, Ishi.
So can I mention, so your example, John, reminded me of San's example of the red card. So if the player got a red card, maybe someone was wishing him or her happy birthday with a greeting card. But if the player got a red card, they are not so happy. They got penalized. So there we go. We figured it out.
So thank you so much for all of your lessons today, John. In the chat, you can find a link to those 2 articles on our website in the Everyday Grammar series. And please watch out for the new videos in the How to Pronounce series that John Russell's doing on our website. Is there any new ones coming up?
They should be released one every week. And so the first large group of videos we're doing on individual sounds go through the major vowel sounds in American English. So each video explores one vowel sound, and then some of the videos explore common confusions between these vowel sounds. And so this way, and sometimes we might use one vowel sound to make a verb, but if you change that vowel sound, it becomes a noun or with a different meaning, So for example, take is a verb, tech is a noun, technology, right? So anyways, if you go to those, we'll release new videos every week, and we'll continue to produce more videos that go beyond just individual sounds.
Well, thank you all. Thank you all so much for participating.
Thank
You guys were
you.
awesome.
Thanks.
Yeah, thank you
Good
so
work.
much.
See you again
See you
soon.
next time.